Without any further ado, I will turn it over to John Block. The mic is still on there, and our Zoom audience at home will be able to be a part of the audience for this performance as well. So thank you, John.
Very good. Thank you, Bonnie. Have you all enjoyed your morning so far? Very good, very good. Well, again, my name is John Block. I come to you from the Allegheny Reservation. I am a Seneca, and I have my daughter here. Her name is Kayleen Block. She is a Mohawk, and again, as was mentioned earlier, many of the nations on the East Coast here, we are matrilineal societies, and is certainly no different than with us. Kayleen takes the nation and the clan of her mother. She is a Mohawk. And so we are going to perform a little bit of what we call in our language, we call it Yoinzake Ka Hat Digainonge. And these are our dances that come from the earth. That's what we say. That's what we say about that. That's really what those words mean. And we're going to start off, I think, and we are fortunate. You know, we did have some questions yesterday, and we're not going to perform that particular dance. We were asked by Brad a little bit earlier. I believe it was yesterday. During our lunch, we were asked about some of our songs and some of the songs that we have that come to us from their nation. And at this time, I'm just going to sing a couple of those songs because I don't know if you've ever actually heard them. So I'll sing a couple of those just to kind of start off. Now, us as Haudenosaunee people, we kind of became a really good repository for other cultures and other people's songs. And we've got a few that are here. And I'm actually going to start off our demonstration with a few of those different songs. We have some songs also that come to us from the Cherokee people, and we were fortunate enough to have performed these songs in front of elders way back, I want to say probably in the late 80s or so. And these elders that were present at that time came to our people and they said, wow, we haven't heard those songs since we were little kids. So we have retained some of those songs that we do have. We refer to that as what we call Oyat.Gea. And our word for the Cherokee people meant cave dwellers. All right. So again, that was how we saw those, those people that came to us, that come to us from the South. And that was our word for them. What I'm going to start off with, though, as promised, is what we call Ganistonge. We translate that to mean the Delaware stick dance is what it's really translated to. And there are different ones that different names. There's a different name that is used for that. For this, I'm going to use just a hand drum. Okay, and normally when that's done, this at one time was a ceremony that was done by the Lenape people. This came to our people at one point, and again, I'm not sure of the timeline of that, but we actually used this dance during some of our social dances. Back home when we conduct our socials, this is usually the last dance that's done. Again, these guys, at one point it was used as a ceremony. We now enjoy it as a social dance. And this is what we call in our language, this is Ganistonge. This is the stick dance. And for this, normally when we sing this, the singers and the dancers will remove their hats because it was at one time a ceremony. So we still acknowledge that to this day. This is what, again, this is a Delaware skin dance. That's what we call Ganistongay, the Delaware skin dance. So one of the things that we do is our ladies have a dance, and we call it in our language, we call it Eskanyet Gainosate. Now there are different variations of this dance. There are 3 different sets, I guess you would say. The other 2 we kind of keep to ourselves, and we use that as during ceremony. And we as Haudenosaunee people, we don't really perform any of our ceremony songs outside of our longhouses. We keep that within our communities, we keep that within our people. But this dance here, these are the songs that our singers are able to create. They're able to make more of them, and there are probably literally thousands of these songs. We call them Eskanyet Gainosate. And this dance is so old that it's said to date back to our creation story. Now, it's said that long ago, a woman fell from the sky. It said that she was carried down to the back of a great turtle by a flock of birds. And it is said there are different variations of this. In the sky world, it was said that there was a chief and his wife, and the wife was pregnant. And in the sky world, there's said to be a great tree where all kinds of fruit grow and are accessible to the whole village. And it's said that this, at some point, that this tree was uprooted. And it said that what she was trying to do was to kind of see if she could take that fruit and make it more accessible to herself. And what she was trying to do was to take some of the roots and replant that tree and have it closer to their lodge, is what they say. And within doing so, it exposed a world that was below. And it was very dark, is what it was said. And there are a couple of variations. In one variation, it says that she fell. In another variation, it says that she had a little help falling. But it said that she fell through this hole and entered into this world of darkness that was filled with water. It said that there were water animals that occupied the land below. And when they looked up and they finally saw light for the first time, it said that those birds went up and checked things out just to see what was happening. And so those birds ended up going and placing this woman. They placed her on their back, and they brought her down to this turtle, and they placed that turtle. They placed her on that turtle's back. It said that she did this dance in a counterclockwise direction, and it said that she held some of those roots in her hand, and with those roots grew life on this earth. It grew the plant life. And at that point, it was said that there were a couple of different animals that tried. They knew that there was earth that was underneath the water. And so a couple of different animals attempted to go down and retrieve some of this dirt so that those roots could grow. It said that the muskrat was the one that was successful, went down to the bottom of the ocean, was able to pick up some of that dirt and place it on the turtle's back. It said that on his journey back that he lost his life, but in his paw, it said that they were able to retrieve that dirt. They placed it on that turtle's back, and it said that this woman planted those roots and did this dance in a counterclockwise direction. And every time she completed a complete rotation, it said that the turtle grew larger. It grew into what we now call North America. And we do this dance to this day. We still have this dance, and we still enjoy this dance. And we do it at our socials. And it's said that each time our ladies do this dance, it is an honor. Once again, this is a dance that's only done by our ladies, simply because it comes to us from that creation story. We refer to that woman as Sky Woman. And our ladies still do this dance, and every time they do it, it said that we are re-blessing our Mother Earth. And at this time, I'm going to call my daughter Kayleen out here to demonstrate this style of dance. Again, these are the more contemporary songs. These are the ones that we are able to share with the public, and I hope you enjoy it. That's what we call the women's dance. Eskaniate guy no say, give her a hand. Now, as I mentioned, a little bit earlier, we have songs that come to us from other nations. We have a social dance that we do. And it seems to me that every nation throughout Turtle Island has some form of this style of dance. We all have some form of what we call a stomp dance, okay? Now, ourselves, we are of no exception. We have a dance that we refer to as Gatda Shod, which literally translates to mean the standing quiver. And so this, this style of dance here, we would take our quivers full of arrows and we would place them into our area that where we would be dancing. And it said that these guys, these warriors, before they would go off on a hunting party, or perhaps before going off to war, they would take those quivers of arrows and stand them up, and they would dance around them. And towards the middle, they would kind of turn in towards them, and that was acknowledging those arrows and kind of asking for good luck in whatever it was that they were about to do. Now, this style of dance, again, comes to us, the one that I will be presenting just the songs for. This comes to us from the Cherokee people. We refer to it as Oyat.Gea. And this is, again, enjoyed in our longhouses. During our socials, we use it as one of our social dances. And this is the Cherokee Stomp Dance. Hawaii over Kiki I. 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 Woo! Woo! That's what we call the Cherokee Stomp Dance. Now, we've got time for about one more, and before we all go off to lunch. And this last dance, as was mentioned earlier, my daughter here is a champion smoke dancer. Well, what does that mean? At many of these powwows, throughout Turtle Island, it's made its way all the way down to the Gathering of Nations. It's made its way out to Mandaree. It's made its way out to California. I believe it was Indio, I think, is where they demonstrated this. And we've demonstrated this dance up in Saskatchewan, up in Saskatoon as well. And so throughout Turtle Island, this dance has really caught on. And this style of dance, actually, its origin comes to us from the Osage people. And we were speaking about maps a little bit earlier. And if you look on, there was an old territory map. Again, I can't remember exactly what the year was, but I believe it was all the way down toward the Mississippi. The Senecas at one time had also migrated, and I believe that that's how we got the Seneca Cayugas as well. Is that correct? That we migrated, and we migrated kind of in like a southwestern, kind of, in a southwest direction. And our people ended up in what's now called Grove, Oklahoma. There is a longhouse that is down there. And we were actually supposed to visit down there this year. We weren't able to make it because we had other obligations to take care of. And, I had wanted to go down there my whole life. When I was young, I had traveled down towards that area, and I actually, if I can remember correctly, because we're talking about 20 years ago here, but I can remember us stopping where the longhouse is. And there was a woman who came out, and if I remember correctly, there's a house that sits right there. And so that woman came out and she asked us where we were from. And she greeted us with open arms, and we said that we wanted to come down during ceremony time. They do a couple of different ceremonies. I know that they have a strawberry dance that's attended. I know that they have a green corn ceremony, kind of in August, I believe is when that is. First week in August, I believe. But we were supposed to go down there this year, and unfortunately, we weren't able to make it. But if you look on one of those, the specific map that I'm speaking of, again, I can't remember exactly where I saw this and where, what year to give any kind of reference, but it said that the Osage people were literally across the river from our people. And this style of dance originally was used as a ceremony. And we used that, and I guess during the time of the Buffalo Bill Cody shows, our contribution to that was to do this war dance, and that's what we called it. We called it a war dance. And even though we did it as a ceremony, and still to this day do it as a ceremony, us back home, we do it twice a year. I know that I've been present in Onondaga when they did this, and they do it at just about everything except for strawberry dance. Is that correct? So our guys still do that dance, and there are different variations of this dance. Well, our old timers during the time of those Western shows wanted a way for our guys to kind of hype up the show. And they took these old slow war dance songs and they sped them up. And they came up with what they called, originally they called it a fancy war dance, is what they called it. And in more recent years, our ladies started enjoying this dance as well. And it kind of came about that our ladies were kind of showing up the guys a little bit. And you'll see why in a little bit. And so what they started doing, I guess it would also be around in like the late 80s, they started having contests for this style of dance. And shortly after, those ladies, you know, started enjoying this as well. And many different powwows now offer what we refer to as smoke dance competition. And my daughter here, who just entered the adult category, you know, so she's kind of earning her stripes a little bit here. But she goes to these different powwows and she dances, and sometimes I'm the singer and sometimes I'm not. But she has placed at many of these big competition style, you know, powwows. And this past weekend, we were actually coming from the Meharin powwow, and she was the first place champion down there as well. And she's done so throughout. There you go. Give her a hand. She's earned it. She has done this dance at some really big festivals, some really big powwows, and you know, right now, you know, I can say this actually without being biased, is that she is one of the top dancers in our territories, which I'm very proud to say, you know, and she certainly didn't get that from me. But she is a champion smoke dancer, and the rules to this dance are she has to stay in beat with the drum no matter how fast I go, okay? If there are any skips or stops in the song, she has to show that in her dance, and she has to stop on time. Those are pretty much the three rules, but she kind of, you know, all of our smoke dancers, they kind of, you know, they make up their own moves, and these ladies have gotten really fancy, I gotta say. Some of our guys have as well. And, you know, there are a couple of my friends. I used to dance at one time, you know, but there are a couple of my friends, when I see them at powwows, I kind of just go, it's a set of brothers. I kind of just go, well, there's first and second. It looks like we're all competing for third, you know, because these guys really have a lot of moves. And these ladies here, you know, they've kind of made it their own style. They've made it their own category. And again, Kayleen here is a champion smoke dancer. So we're going to let her show off in front of you. And this is her version of what we call the smoke dance. How about it? Give her a hand. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I certainly hope you enjoyed our presentation that we do have for you today. Again, I do hope that you walked away with something, that you did learn something from our culture and from our teachings and a little bit of our dancing as well. It was certainly a pleasure to demonstrate these songs and these dances for you. Again, kind of giving a little shout out to our Cherokee representatives and our Lenape representatives as well. And we hope that everybody enjoys their lunch. You know, don't get too full, because, you know, I know that everybody be nodding off at some point, you know, here. And enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
They're not going to nod off with the Shawnee Chiefs here, so let's not worry about that. Let's have a nice round of applause, a warm West Virginia round of applause for John Block and Kayleen Block. Thank you. Thank you both. Really, really interesting.